going on, guys? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we're going to be breaking down the final injury report for the Minnesota Vikings ahead of this must-watch, must-have game versus the Detroit Lions. As honestly, I was trying to go to bed last night, and I just kept watching like Justin Jefferson hype videos versus the Lions. Like, I am consuming every piece of content I can before this game. I feel like a little kid trying to fall asleep on Christmas Eve. I just can't wait for it. It's going to be a great game. So we got the injury report to break down on today's show. It's actually the Vikings got some pretty damn good news around two key players. But before we dive into that, guys, I do want to say thank you so much. We actually did cross over 37,000 subscribers here on the channel yesterday. So that is awesome. I really do just want to say thank you, guys. The support on the channel over the last, month, 2 months has been ridiculous. So that is all credit to you guys. So seriously, thank you guys so much. And if you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Maybe we could somehow reach 38K before kickoff this Sunday. Now, before we dive into the injury report, I do want to address one thing. Got a lot of comments on the video I put out earlier saying this is clickbait, like you don't have any more, or you don't have any inside info around who the Vikings could be trading for at the deadline. As I just put out a video saying here are 10 trade targets for the Minnesota Vikings. I am not claiming to ever have any inside info about who the Vikings could be trading for. It's just reckless speculation. With this team starting off 5-0, I just wanted to talk about 10 guys that they could trade for. So, again, I don't claim to have any inside info. I never did, or saying the Vikings are trading for this guy. I'm just speculating. As you know, Kwesi has been aggressive over the last couple of deadlines. So, just wanted to get that out there as well. But let's dive into the injury report here. So, Blake Cashman is officially ruled out. We knew he was dealing with that turf toe. This was expected. Now, I'm not too worried about him missing because I thought Grugier-Hill has stepped in for Ivan Pace in the past, and he has played fantastic. I mean, that one interception he had against Jordan Love where he peels off the in-breaking route, comes over to the deep cross, and he has an awesome interception. It was a hell of a football play. So, I understand Cashman, he's the leader, he's the play caller of that defense, he wears the green dot. I understand losing him, is a big loss, but I think with the way Pace has played, the way with Grugier-Hill has played, I'm not too worried about losing him. But against the Detroit Lions and how they want to, play offensively, get downhill, run the ball on first and second down, set up play actions, obviously not having your top linebacker definitely does hurt. And also cornerback Akayleb, he is not going to play, but he has been really getting too much go this season. So not really too worried about that. But the great news for the Vikings. So we got a report early on this morning from Tom Pelissero that he actually expects Aaron Jones to play this weekend. Now, I thought, after the way O'Connell talked about it last week, calling this a week-to-week injury with the hip, and then them going out and making a move for Cam Akers, I thought it was kind of a insurance for the next 2 weeks that they are fully anticipating Aaron Jones not to be out there versus the Lions and versus the Rams, and they just wanted another good running back, to have that is familiar with the system. So I really didn't think Aaron Jones had a chance. But Pelissero was saying he expects him to go, which is fantastic news. I have shown the numbers of Sam Darnold with Aaron Jones on the field compared to with off the field. It is staggering. It is, obviously a limited sample size, but we see that impact when number 33 is out there. So I expect him to go. I'd probably say it's about a 70-75% chance he does play. Then obviously 20-25% chance that 25-30% chance that he does not play. But the Vikings do have Aaron Jones. This is huge. And, it was a thought I had. Maybe, as I'm a big Ty Chandler fan, I've always felt like he was a very solid running back for this team. But maybe the Vikings just viewed Cam Akers as a running back 2 for this group. And then Ty Chandler's like that third running back. He'll be more of a kick return specialist maybe. And maybe that report from Rappaport that this had nothing to do with the Aaron Jones injury when the Vikings traded for Akers, maybe that was correct. But more injury news here. TJ Hockenson is listed as questionable. Now, I'm going to say I'm going to lean towards Hawk not playing. And maybe this is just me not trying to get my hopes up here. But just the way O'Connell was talking in his press conference, I think it was yesterday or maybe the day before, he just, when asked about Hockenson, he just kept saying there's a ton of football left to be played. We don't want to rush anybody back. But he did mention he knows the implications of this game. And it was also another report that came out that Kevin O'Connell does not care about the Thursday night game against the Rams. It's not going to have any impact on his decision to let guys go or to hold guys out because he knows the implications of this game versus the Lions. I mean, it not only has huge NFC North implications, but honestly, I think either the Vikings or the Lions are going to have the number 1 seed in the conference when it's all said and done. So these head-to-head matchups are obviously massive in the grand scheme of things. So Hawk right now, like I said, 70-75% chance that Aaron Jones does play. I'll probably flip that. I'll probably say 70-75% chance that Hawk does not play. Now, we got reports all throughout the week that he looks great at practice. And, you know, there was also some crazy stat that, like, he hit his fastest speed of his career this past week at practice. So clearly he looks good. He feels good. He says he's going to take it day to day when he was talking about the injury. But if the Vikings were to have Hawk this weekend, it would be massive. Like, I really am just so excited to see, like, all the Avengers, like the Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones, Hockenson, Darisaw, the whole crew out there offensively with O'Connell as the best play caller in the National Football League. So I can't wait to see, you know, all of them back in action, but maybe it's not this weekend, but it'll probably be against the Rams. Now, also, edge rusher Patrick Jones, he's listed as questionable. I expect him to go. Defensive tackle Harrison Phillips is also listed as questionable, but he should be good to go. And then also Dalton Risner, he's listed as questionable as well. But one thing to note, we'll probably get a good answer on this probably tomorrow, at least before the game. Risner and Hockenson, they're not on the 53-man roster yet, so if they are both going, I'm assuming we're going to get word like so-and-so is being put to the practice squad. Like, we will have an indication if they're playing, you know, before a guy like Aaron Jones, because you would have to elevate Risner and Hockenson to the 53-man roster. But that's injury news around the Vikings. Now, coming up in just a second, I do want to just give you guys my final thoughts on this game is I think the Vikings are going to handle the Lions. And, you know, maybe it's wishful thinking. Maybe it's me drinking too much purple Kool-Aid. But I've just really been diving into this game. And I think the Vikings are going to be – I think they're going to be the better team this Sunday. But before we get to that, if you guys want the Vikes to beat the Lions, just hit that thumbs up icon. Hit that like button for me. It just helps us get this video out to more and more Vikings fans. And plus, I just want to get all the good mojo we can heading into this game versus Detroit. But let's break it down. So final thoughts on this game. And why I'm really starting to turn to the Vikings, I don't know if it's going to be a dismantling of the Lions, but I think they're going to win pretty easily. And, you know, I think if you look at these rosters on paper, like going into the year, everybody would have said the Lions have the way more complete roster. They're deeper. They got more top-end talent. But heading into this game, I think the Vikings have the significant talent advantage, and specifically defensively. The Lions' defense was already a middle-of-the-pack group, and they already put a lot of pressure on Aiden Hutchinson to get pressures, to get sacks, and be that, you know, blue chipper on that defensive line. But you take him out of this equation, like Carlton Davis is a good player. McNeil is a very good player. Like, they have good, you know, good football players out there, but they don't have the top-end talent. But they're also not as deep as the Vikings defense, and I think that's what's going to be the difference. I do think the Lions offense is slightly better than the Vikings offense right now. Is, you know, I think Goff's better than Darnold, and I think their offensive line is just a little bit better than ours. But, you know, also I can make an argument. The Lions offense, I'll take our play caller, Kevin O'Connell, over Ben Johnson, even though Ben Johnson's fantastic. And also I would take having a guy like Justin Jefferson, who is a complete matchup nightmare, and, you know, and compared to Amon-Ra, who is another great receiver, but he can't do what Justin Jefferson can do on the football field. And Laporta, he's a great tight end. But if Hawk's out there, I think that kind of cancels each other out. I think the Lions running backs are better than the Vikings backs, but if we got Aaron Jones going, I'm cool with running with Jones, Akers, and Chandler. But I think this game is going to come down to two things. I think we're going to be talking about here on the channel when Monday rolls around. We're going to be talking about one position group, one player. One, I think Jordan Addison is going to have a monster game. I think all these numbers have been starting to come out about Jefferson owning the Lions. Like, he's averaging 134 yards per game against them, like 170 in his last 3 games. Like, he has owned this Lions secondary, and he plays with so much swagger against them. Like, he takes it personal every single time. And I think Kevin O'Connell is going to understand that. And I think the Lions defense is going to overreact to Jefferson. And we always talk about the 18 effect here, where it's like, if he's one-on-one, you throw him the football. If he's getting all the coverage, you let guys like Addison eat. And I think we're going to be talking about Addison coming off a 125-yard game. Like, I am really set in stone on this, that number 3, Jordan Addison, is going to be the reason this Vikings offense is so successful this weekend. And especially if Hockenson and Aaron Jones are there, it just takes so much attention off him. And if he's like your 3rd or 4th, option in the offense, like, that's a great 3rd or 4th option. Addison was a first-round pick. He's a tremendous football player, and even I feel like you Vikings fans and me sometimes, we underrate him. Like, this is a guy, if he went to a team without Justin Jefferson there, he would be the undisputed one and putting up a whole lot more production, and we would view him as a better receiver. But I have watched the tape on him. I have watched almost every route he has ran. He is an unbelievable wide receiver. Like, truly one of the most underrated 2s in the league. I think he is the best 2. I think he's better than guys like Higgins. I think he's better than guys like, Devontae Smith of Philly. I think that's going to be the storyline that we're talking about on Monday and Sunday night after the game, is that Jordan Addison killed the Lions. Now, also number 2 for me, I think the Vikings defense is going to be fantastic in the red zone. You are going to have to stop this run game, and I think you're going to sell out, and Lions are obviously a good red zone offense. But I think if they're not able to run the football in the red zone, I think Flores is just going to absolutely blitz the hell out of Goff. It's actually an interesting stat from last year. They blitzed Goff on 73% of dropbacks. I think that's going to be, I think it's going to go 2 ways, where either Flores is going to do that again and double down on it, or he's going to completely shift it, where he's going to only blitz them on like 10% of dropbacks, and Goff is just, those mind games that Flores can play with you. So my final score prediction, I'm going to go 31 Vikings, 16 for the Lions. I think the Lions will be able to move the ball. They got a lot of talent offensively. They got a good play caller, but I think they're going to stall out in the red zone. And I think the Vikings are going to finish these drives. I think they're going to jump out like 14-3 like they have in the past, but I think they're going to be able to maintain that lead. And I think it's probably going to be like 24-10 late in the 3rd quarter, early 4th, and the Vikings are going to have a nice 7-minute long drive, put the game away, then maybe the Lions, put some makeup on the game and get to 16. But I really do think the Vikings are going to cement themselves as not only the best team in the division, not only the best team in the NFC, but the best team in the National Football League this weekend and get a big-time victory. But thank you guys so much for watching today's show. We'll have a video coming out tomorrow breaking down this game even more in depth, and then obviously our watch party Sunday. So tune in for that. See you guys next time. As always, Skol Vikes.